My name is Jim Lee, and I'm very sorry that I can't be with you today to honor the memory of Bear. Ironically, I'm actually in Bear's country of birth right now, and I always found it interesting that Bear and I led geographically similar lives. First, we're both Canadian. Although we came from opposite sides of the country, he from BC and me from Ontario, we shared the same love of all things from the Great White North, the Canadian way of life, the beautiful seasons including snowy winters, and hockey, and we all know that no Canadian would ever need to clarify this by saying ice hockey. Bear and I met as fellow graduate students at Princeton, and I will always remember how we first met. I was walking down the corridor in the basement of the geology building, the so-called geochemistry wing, when I heard this big, booming voice belting out a song by Stan Rogers. Now, any Canadian knows that Stan Rogers is one of the country's most iconic folk singers and writers, so hearing a Stan Rogers song in the corridor of a building in the middle of New Jersey would bring any patriotic Canadian to a screeching halt. And from that time onwards, a friendship was born. I had the privilege of getting to know not only Bear, but his wonderful family, which, at the time, was comprised of his wife, Maria, and children, Christina and Sean. I remember thinking how impressive Bear was. Trying to do a PhD while being single was hard enough, let alone doing it while raising a family. And I remember thinking how impressive Maria was. Although she was a fully qualified medical doctor in Canada, I remember hearing all about the many trials and exams she had to go through to eventually become licensed in New Jersey. More on that later. One of the best things I remember about those Princeton days was how tightly knit the grad students were. Although we had our own little research groups, for example, Bear was part of a large stable of geochemistry graduate students, contemporaries who included Trish Dove, Roland Hellman, Remy Hennett, and many others too numerous to mention, while I was a member of the geochronologically inclined Argonauts. It was a truly collegial environment where it was easy to mingle, which is how we both came to know even those nerdy geophysicists such as Terence Barr, who, wonderfully, is also speaking to you today. After Bear graduated from Princeton, he landed a job at Monash University in Melbourne, Australia. I was soon able to follow him down under when I went to the Research School of Earth Sciences at the Australian National University, or ANU, in Canberra, and we were able to catch up from time to time. And I was reminded yet again of Maria's remarkable fortitude after hearing about the trials and tribulations she faced yet again to become licensed in Australia. At this rate, I expect that she is now licensed to practice in about 94 different countries. After some years, I moved back to Canada, but this time Bear followed in my footsteps by moving to the ANU in Canberra in the Department of Geology and eventually the Research School of Earth Sciences. Yet, because of my own strong ties to Australia, we managed to keep in touch and catch up whenever my own family came back to visit friends and family in Oz. I will always remember Bear as one of the friendliest and kind-hearted people I knew. He cared deeply for his family, for friends, and for students. He took time off work to visit my wife in the hospital in Canberra when she decided to make an unplanned overnight stay. He kindly took my youngest daughter to a hockey game when she was visiting Canberra. Bear is such an appropriate name for him. He was a big guy with a big heart. To Bear's family, I can just imagine him strolling down that corridor in Princeton or the ANU, boisterously singing the following chorus from this wonderfully rousing Stan Rogers song. Rise again, though your heart it be broken, and life about to end, no matter what you've lost, be it a home, a love, a friend, like the Mary Ellen Carter, rise again. Farewell, Bear. You will be sorely missed.